Gothic Jinn Creature from Achoura, 2018, explored. Achoura is a gothic dark fantasy horror film which is a co-production of Morocco and France. This movie came out in 2018 and was co-written and directed by Talal Selhami. Younes Bouab plays Ali, Sofia Manousha plays Nadia, Omar Lotfi plays Samir, and Ivan Gonzalez plays Stephane. Achoura refers not to the monster in the movie, but to a religious celebration in Morocco. On the 10th day of Muharram comes Ashura Day, which is also known as Zamzam Day in some parts of Morocco. On this day, people spray water on each other and the children go out in groups to spray water on people. As the movie progresses, you will see how water is important to the plot. However, not much of the movie revolves around Ashura Day, barring the very first scene. The movie revolves around four friends, where one of them, Samir, had gotten separated from them on Ashura Day. After 25 years, they reconnect with their long-lost friend, but all is not well as Samir is the host of a malevolent djinn-like creature. The film had its North American premiere at the Chicago Cinepocalypse Festival. The movie was completed with production in 2015, even though it was released in 2018. However, the movie It, which was released after Achoura was made, was eerily similar to Achoura, considering the fact that It is based on an already well-established novel by Stephen King and hit screens before Achoura. Achoura falls under the shadow of the horrifying killer clown. In the movie It, 7 kids face a killer clown, which leads them to face their own demons later. Achoura is similar to this as well, as each character deals with the trauma following their altercation with the djinn-like creature. However, several factors, most notably the cultural and religious ones, separate Achoura from It. In this video, we will break down the movie and talk about the creature that plagues the cast to get the complete experience of the Moroccan folklore.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
The creature returned to hunt. Achoura 2018. The movie begins with 4 kids gathered around a bonfire for a Moroccan titular religious celebration called the Child's Night. We then see a young girl named Ashura who was married despite her young age. She wasn't a part of the 4 kids who had gathered around the bonfire, by the way. Ashura liked another guy of her age named Janeb. Janeb asked Ashura to run away with her, but she couldn't do it. So Ashura gives Janeb a whistle to use whenever he misses her. Ashura's husband tracks them down to the bonfire venue, so the 2 kids run through the confined cornfield and into an abandoned building to save themselves. However, her husband isn't too far behind. He finds them and beats up Janeb. As he is about to kill him, Ashura hits her husband from behind and knocks him out. She rushes to Janeb, and he watches a creature materialize in Ashura. The djinn-like creature takes Ashura away. The scene shifts, and we are brought to the present. The 4 kids, Ali, Nadia, Stephane, and Samir, who were present at the bonfire, are adults now. Ali is a detective who was seen investigating a case similar to what had happened to Nadia. A kid playing football enters an abandoned place where he finds a strange man whose mouth was locked. The man turns out to be Samir. An old man intervenes and sends the kids away. He then tries to beat Samir up with a plank of wood but hesitates. Samir is given some water to drink instead. After which, we see something weird move inside his stomach. Pretty sure he wasn't pregnant. Ali and Nadia were married with a child named Yusuf. Their marital relationship was far from great, however. The next day, Nadia goes to Stephane's art exhibition and looks at his creepy paintings of a bald, humanoid creature with dark eyes and melting mouth. The art depicts the affected kids from the incident that Ali was investigating. Nadia begins to feel uncomfortable and decides to leave. The scene shifts to a flashback from Nadia's childhood. The kids were about to celebrate their cultural festival when they began talking about the story behind the house they were in. The film is a co-production of France and Morocco, and as you may already know, Morocco used to be a French colony. The kids talk about that and mention how the house belongs to French soldiers. These soldiers used to treat the Moroccans terribly until a creature showed up and killed everyone. The creature was also responsible for many kids going missing. Ali looks at the locket that says, Nadia loves Stephane. The scene shifts back to the present, where the kids return to Samir and finds him in possession of the same locket. He unlocks the lock around his mouth and the creature in Samir's stomach, now unleashed, attacks the kids. Ali and his boss Mahid investigate another incident with the creature. A family looks at the report by the detectives on TV. Suddenly there's a knock on the door. The man sends his kid to the room and gets the door cautiously and calls the police. Just then, he hears his child scream. Samir breaks the door and enters the house to look for something. The parent goes to the child's room and finds the child missing. Ali reaches his headquarters in the next scene where he finds Samir arrested. He hugs his old friend on seeing him after 15 years. Samir tells Ali about the creature and calls it the boogeyman. He also tells Ali about the locket. A flashback scene tells us that Nadia liked Stephane since they were kids, but Stephane had emotionally distanced himself ever since Samir went missing. We finally get to see the origin of Samir's story. Samir had found a girl in the cornfield who was none other than Bashira. Bashira takes Samir and company to the abandoned building from the first scene, asking for help for her old friend. Over there, they find a man with a lock around his mouth. He unlocks it and the creature comes out of his stomach. It begins to swallow Samir, but Nadia throws water balloons at it. It leaves Samir and escapes in a way that makes it look scared. A man barges in with the whistle that Bashira had given to Janeb. It turns out to be an adult Janeb. The whistle's sound contains the creature inside Samir, and they lock his mouth. They try to save Samir, but fail, which was a reason why the other 3 people had grown up with a lot of guilt. Janeb takes Samir away. The flashback ends, and we see Ali speaking to Nadia on call. Nadia tells him that she could now recall all of these past incidents which she had forgotten about as a trauma response. Ali tries to reach Nadia, who was with a kid in the school where she worked. The little girl goes to the washroom and Nadia hears her scream. She goes to find the kid and encounters the creature from the past once again. The creature was almost about to hit Nadia when Janeb intervenes and switches on the fire alarm. The water from the sprinklers scare the creature away. Ali comes in and mistakes Janeb to be the perpetrator. The creature materializes behind Ali, and Janeb tries to take out his whistle, but Ali misunderstands it as Janeb stands for attacking and shoots him. Janeb dies and Ali realizes his mistake. He uses the whistle to protect himself and rushes to Samir. He intends to leave with his friend. Samir is taken to Stephane. They take their child Yusuf as well. Stephane hugs Samir when the creature reappears. It tries to attack them when Ali uses the whistle to contain the creature in Samir. This time, Samir breaks down emotionally and begins to consider himself the cause of all the misfortune. He thinks that his death would cause the creature in him to die as well and commit suicide by jumping off a window, but it only worsens things as the creature is now free without the host. It attacks and takes away Yusuf. The 3 head towards the house that once belonged to the French soldiers. They find Yusuf amidst the heap of bones when the creature reappears and attacks them. Bashira also materializes from the creature's body, and it turns out that she was haunting people. Stephane and Nadia pull Bashira out of the creature successfully. However, the creature then kills Stephane and turns into ash. A possessed Bashira begins to bang Nadia's head against the wall. She then contains the creature's ashes, and he is reborn again. Before he can kill Nadia, Ali controls the creature with the whistle. With no option left, he contains the creature inside Yusuf. In the end, we see Ali and Nadia leave their home to go to a faraway place with their son Yusuf, who had the same lock in his mouth as Samir. The movie ends. The movie's unique selling point lies in the way the story has been narrated. The constant to and fro between the present and the flashbacks reveals bits and pieces of information about the creature. The performances by the actors, both the adults and the children, are another remarkable feature of this Moroccan film. The addition of a little bit of Moroccan lore with references to the French works well, but elaborating on it wouldn't have hurt either. The movie does not have the most satisfying ending if that's what you're looking for in its resolution. However, the premise is bleak from the beginning, as we see a full-grown man married to a little girl on the verge of killing a little boy. The entire story revolving around Samir is particularly heartbreaking. He is constantly seen in distress ever since he became the host of the creature. He lives in terrible conditions. He spent 25 years away from his friends, and in the end, his death is meaningless, as it just makes things worse for the cast. However, his death was necessary as it showed how grim the movie actually is. The djinn-like monster. The primary antagonist in this movie, Achoura, is a spirit-like creature. In some ways, the creature is similar to the jinn, a sort of supernatural spirit or demon. Every culture has their own malevolent spirit. For example, the boogeyman in the West and the Oni of Japan. Similarly, the jinn is considered to be an evil, supernatural creature in Islamic context. and is often mentioned alongside the devils. The conception may vary, as occasionally jinns can be benevolent in certain folklore, but generally they are evil spirits who are held responsible for disease, misfortune, and possession. This human body possession by the jinn is a concept that's inspired several horror movies, The Creature being one of them. Though the creature isn't exactly the same as a jinn, or maybe it is. Not much has been elaborated about its origin or goals. In folklore, jinns belong to a world different from the one humans live in. When they possess a human, the host is unable to speak properly and tends to have seizures. In the movie, we see the creature possessing the host, but the characteristics of the creature stray away from that of the jinn when we think about how the host behaved. Samir is able to speak coherently, as we see when he speaks with Ali. The jinn brings misfortune though, and of course, when you have a dangerous creature in you, your life is likely to be miserable. Not just yours, but the lives of those who care about you are at risk as well. It's not likely to make you go bankrupt and attract other miseries, but being a host changes your life for the worse drastically, and that is more than bad enough. The creature hunts for children and feeds on them. As the movie cuts to the present day, this is the case that Ali investigates. The creature shows up at homes with young children around the age of 10 to 12 and feeds on them. Its primary intentions remain in the dark, however. Why does it feed on children? Why does it stay in Samir? Does it need a host to survive? These are the burning questions that come to mind. By the looks of it, we can assume that the creature feeds on children for its survival. Maybe it cannot feed on beings of other age groups. Maybe it just doesn't like to feed on adult humans. Maybe the adults aren't delicious enough. The creature has a host in the movie on a number of occasions because it had to be contained to save the children, and the only way to contain it was a host and a whistle that could control the spirit. With the whistle, Ali and Janeb control the spirit of the creature and they bind it inside Samir, and in the end in Yusuf. Then a lock is placed around their mouth and they are kept in isolation to prevent the spirit from coming out. One such place where the hosts are generally kept is the old French house where the French soldiers lived back when Morocco was a French colony. The place was abandoned, making it an ideal place to keep the host of the creature. The creature has a weakness, apart from the whistle that can control it. Water. It doesn't like water. It was low-key scared when Nadia attacked it with the water balloon. In another scene, Janeb sets off the sprinklers by breaking the fire alarm, causing the water from the sprinklers to scare the creature away. As the movie references Ashura Day or Zamzam Day, it makes sense why the evil spirit is warded off by the holy water. The creature had possessed Nadia and she had succumbed to its darkness, which is why it was banging Nadia's head against the wall, despite being pulled out. It was also immortal, probably. When it had turned into ash, Bashira had gathered those ashes again, which allowed the creature to rematerialize. On the other hand, the death of the host while the creature possessed them did not help either. Samir had a massive breakdown, thinking that everything was his fault and had committed suicide. He hoped for it to kill the creature inside him, but it didn't work as Samir died and now the creature was released. The only way to deal with it was by locking it in another host. The character design of the creature stands out. Not in a visual way, but in an abstract manner. Several scenes of the movie are shot in the dark with shadowy photography, so when the spirit of the creature materializes, the creature sometimes blends in with the surroundings, making it a more formidable foe. In other instances, when we get to see its face, the entire body of the creature is black, while the face looks like a white mask. The mouth area branches out into open protrusions from the skin, revealing a spot in the mouth that looks similar to the mouths of the unevolved demon dogs in Stranger Things. To make matters creepier, when the creature was inside its host, it generally lived in the stomach and squirmed around that area. Being fed with meat and vegetables instead of children was not its favorite diet to go on. It can also rematerialize itself very soon after being warded off, which is why Ali had to use Yusuf as the last resort and ended up containing the creature in his own son. What a fight for the Best Dad of the Year award. Why you should watch Achoura. Achoura is Morocco's very first monster film, and watching movies revolving around the folktales of different cultures is always a splendid thing to do. That way, we get to hear more stories and know more about the interesting and grim details that are commonplace in other countries. From a critical perspective, the creature received positive reviews from several publications, as there are very few characters in the movie. Everyone gets the platform to shine. Ali takes the lead as the investigator. Nadia finds herself in several situations where she has to face the creature. Stephane's childhood love with Nadia and him being Samir's brother add weights to the story. Samir being the host of the creature makes him one of the most important characters, and it all begins with Bashira and Janeb. Every other child or adult present in the movie, such as Yusuf and Mahid, are responsible for moving the plot forward, and no one is expendable. The movie is also somber and builds a lot of suspense as it flows. Nothing is revealed at once, and it builds the curiosity to learn more about the creature. Death of innocence is a very common theme in the movie, adding to its already grim nature. The three kids, notably Nadia, forget about the incident with Samir succumbing to the creature as a trauma response. It is not uncommon for people to blank out traumatic memories as a coping mechanism. The characters consider themselves guilty for their friend's misfortune, and that plagues their lives. This makes certain factors of the movie very realistic as well. Samir's character in particular stands out amongst them, causing us to empathize with him, but fear the monster inside him at the same time. And in the end, his meaningless death adds to that sorrow. The movie evokes several emotions in the watcher, which makes Achoura a must-watch horror film. It is great to venture into movies from other countries. So, what did you think about the movie? Did you enjoy the video? If yes, then don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. Till then, have a good one.